If you're a student that keeps on getting told that you need to study hard, you need to study 8, 10, 12 hours a day to get those good grades, then this mini lesson is for you. So in this mini lesson, I really want to talk about why you shouldn't be studying 10 hours per day, or for that matter, even 4 hours straight, 6 hours straight, 8 hours straight. Why is that? So recently, I've been going through YouTube and these videos popped up on my feed. There are these students, pre-med students, med students, or these influencers actually studying 4 hours straight, and they title How I Study 4 Hours Straight, and they actually reveal how they actually force their mind to actually try to focus for 4 hours. Then there is someone that by saying how I study for 10 hours and stay focused as well. Then there is even a even bigger number, how I studied 100 hours in a week. And then I got curious, and actually I thought, why is this phenomenon happening? Why are we forced to believe that we need to study so hard to get those good grades? Is that really the truth? So I'm going to talk a little bit about my experiences around this as well. And this concept where I really want you to have is the concept between running a marathon versus a sprint. So imagine your study at the moment. You're not actually just doing that for 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, or 10 days. That would be a sprint, right? But a lot of times with your study, throughout your high school years, throughout your university degree years, or even people doing masters, it's years and years, week after week, month after month, year after year of progress. It's actually a marathon when you actually think about it. People who are actually doing this, if you force yourself to do 100 hours in a week, I really want to ask you, how many weeks of that can you actually do? But the most important thing is the result. How are you actually achieving your results? What are you trying to get out of studying 100 hours a week? A lot of people, when they study, they either want to, number one, learn a lot of stuff so they can use it in future, or number two, which a lot of student aims, is that they get good grades so they can go into the career of their own choice. Really then, we need to think about having this goal in mind and thinking about whether this 100 hours a week is actually helping you. If it's not, why the heck are you doing this? Having this concept of running a marathon sustainably, healthily, not actually breaking down and actually burning out right in the beginning of this marathon and actually hating study for your whole life, because studying is so good, we learn so much from it. So you've probably seen this meme somewhere. I've talked about this a bit as well. We've got study, we've got sleep on this side, and also most importantly, we've got life as well. And as we have this delicate balance, a lot of people who actually try to do well, or what we talked about just now, studying 4 hours straight, 8 hours straight, 10 hours straight, or 100 hours in a week, they're actually just prioritizing this and sacrificing this. And a lot of times, none of this is happening. None of life is happening. When this is happening, you are actually going on a sprint. This is how people go into mental health problems. They go into depression. They actually burn out right in the middle of things. So this is really what I don't want you to do, because we want to be balanced. We want to be doing some study. We want to be having sufficient sleep, and we want to be having a lot of this life. We want to be enjoying every step of it, because it actually makes your study more enjoyable and you actually end up doing better. So how do you actually go by doing this properly? This is what I call the study efficiency curve. So if you have actually followed me for a while, I've actually talked about this a lot. So addressing this first two issues with students actually studying 4 hours straight and also 10 hours straight, what is actually the problem? So we talk about this productivity curve or a study efficiency curve. First of all, you have this productivity which increases usually initially over time, and as you reach this peak productivity, usually around 1 hour to 1.5 hours, this is where your productivity starts to drift down. Your mind starts to wander, you start to get distracted, you want to go on your phone, you want to go and take a nap. This is what I call the burnout zone, and this is where you should really be taking a productive break. You should be refreshing your mind, because your mind isn't designed to actually stay in this productivity zone for that long. Even when sometimes you're in a state of flow, you're able to extend it for maybe half an hour more or an hour more. You can't force yourself to actually study for 8 hours straight, because this is what ends up happening. So again, productivity versus time. This is what's happening. Initially, your productivity goes up, you concentrate, yep, great. And then at the maybe 1.5 hour mark, even if you're really good, this is what's happening. You start to actually have your productivity go down. And what happens, maybe this is at a 3 hour mark, your productivity is so low, you're not really actually doing anything. You're just sitting there reading words, or actually just looking at words, not even processing anything. And your productivity just plateaus at almost nothing. And as you study for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, it doesn't really matter, because this can just continue to extend and you're actually not getting much work done, as compared to if you look at this area right here, this productivity area right here has trumped so many of these hours right here, which really brings me to the second principle, not just in study, but in life, productivity in general, whatever you want to do in life. This rule is really what you really need to understand, is the 80-20 rule. This really captures the essence of how some people can seemingly do not a lot, but they can achieve such a great result because they know where they need to focus their attention to get those results that they need, and they don't spend extra time burning themselves out studying 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours straight and actually not achieving much. They are results focused, they are goal focused, they know what they want to achieve, they put in the time required, minimum required, so they're actually studying smarter, they're living smarter. So what is this 80-20 rule? If you have never ever heard about this, this is what it is. The 80-20 rule states that people, or a task that you actually do, when you actually focus on the important thing, you put in that 20% effort, you are often able to achieve 80% of the result. This is really powerful, because when you're actually putting in a minimum amount of effort, smart effort, and you're achieving disproportionate of result, you are actually having the edge. So by focusing on the right thing, for example, what I just talked about here in the productivity zone, if you actually focus on fitting as many of these and chunking your study down, even if you just do 1 or 2 of these a day, you're much better than those who actually cram the last minute and actually in the last week study, for example, that 100 hours a week, and those students actually end up in this zone forever and they actually burn themselves out. So what do not smart people do? They end up spending 80% of the effort, achieving only 20% of the result. This is where people can start to feel that their efforts are actually wasted, their efforts are actually not efficient, and they're actually not really achieving much. And this is really where a lot of students are stuck. I've coached so many students in the past and they're really stuck on this category right here. They don't know how to use this leverage to their advantage and actually how to use the minimum amount of smart effort to achieve the biggest result. So if you haven't already checked out webinar on getting excellent grades in study by studying smarter and not harder, now click the link below or in the description and make sure that you click register and attend the webinar, because that is where I've condensed most of my tips that you can achieve much better result by actually reducing your effort. So hopefully this mini lesson has been helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.